Hello, this is MTG Sly Guy with another Magic the Gathering deck tech for the Battle for Zendikar Season of Standard. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a Abzan company build that I took to game day at my local game store. I ended up coming in third place. I went undefeated through the Swiss rounds, but I ended up losing in the semifinals in a very close match against a Esper Dragons deck. I actually thought I had the win in game 3, but my opponent ended up top decking a Dig Through Time. He had no cards left in his hand. He top decked a Dig Through Time, and it was a really good Dig Through Time because he was able to wipe my board and play Dragonlord Silumgar, which ended up doing lethal damage to me over the course of the next 3 turns. But anyway, it's a really good deck. It's a really fun deck. Synergizes rather well. It has a counter synergy aspect to it that I really enjoyed. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys today, and I hope you enjoy it. Starting off with the land, we have 4 Windswept Heath, the green-white fetch land, 4 Wooded Foothills, the green-red fetch land, 2 Flooded Strand, the blue-white fetch land. Then we have 2 Canopy Vista, the green-white slow land, battle land, whatever you want to call it. 1 Smoldering Marsh, the black-red slow land, battle land, and 1 Sunken Hollow, the blue-black slow land. Next up we have 2 Shambling Vents, the black-white man land from Battle for Zendikar. So it enters tapped. It taps for black or white, and for 1 colorless, 1 black and 1 white, it becomes a 2/3 white and black elemental creature with lifelink until end of turn. 2 Sandstep Citadel, the Abzan Triland, 2 basic forests, 1 basic plains, and 2 Llanowar Wastes for a total of 23 lands. Next up we have our creatures. For our 2-drops we have 2 Heir of the Wilds, the 2/2 Death Touch with Ferocious that gets +1/+1 when it attacks. Play set of Den Protectors, which everyone pretty much knows what this does by now. It's just, it morphs. So you play it as a morph. You can Megamorph it for 1 colorless and 1 green. When it gets turn face up, it gets a 1/1 counter, and you can return a card from a graveyard to your hand. Next up, we have Anafenza Kintree Spirit for 2 double white. Whenever it's a 2/2, and whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you bolster 1. She's a 2/0. And next up, I have 2 Avatar of the Resolute. It's for double green. It's a 3/2 reach trample, and when it enters the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter on it for each other creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. One interesting synergy with this, there was a few times on Saturday that I played Collected Company, and I collected companied into Anafenza and Avatar. And what you do is, you play Anafenza and Avatar, and you say, I want Anafenza to trigger first, so you put the Avatar's ability on the stack first. Anafenza triggers, you get the bolster counter on her, and then you get the additional counter when this resolves. So it's just pretty handy. You get a 3/3 and a 4/3. So yeah, Avatar of the Resolute is a 2/0. Next up, 1 of Abzan Falconer, just because my creatures, a great majority of them, pretty much always have counters on them, so I can pseudo-flash this guy in with Collected Company, and all of a sudden all my creatures have flying. And it's just a really good card as a 1/of to surprise my opponents. I was able to swing in for the win on one of my matches with it. Just a fun card as a 1/of. Next up, play set of Managorger Hydra. So for 2 colorless and 1 green, it's a 1/1. It has trample, and whenever any player casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on Managorger Hydra. So he gets really fat in a hurry. He's if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell for him, he's a real pain in the butt. And next up, we have play set of Deathmist Raptor. For 1 colorless, 2 greens, a 3/3 Death Touch. Whenever a permanent I control is turned face up, I can return him to the battlefield from the graveyard, face up or face down. And he has a Megamorph ability. Excuse me. So for 4 colorless, if I play him face down for 4 colorless and 1 green, I can turn him up and he gets a counter. Next up, we have 2 Drawn and Liberator of Malakir. For 1 colorless and 2 black, she's a 2/3 flying first strike, and whenever she deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature I control. And the great thing is, first strike, so her ability triggers before my other creatures do combat damage, so she'll attack if she gets through. She puts a counter on all my attacking creatures, and they all get buffed before they do damage. And lastly, for the creatures, I have 3 Anafenza the Foremost. 1 white, 1 black, 1 green. She's a 4/4. Whenever she attacks, put a 1/1 counter on another target tapped creature I control. If a creature card will be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Anafenza is all upside. 3 mana 4/4, which is great. She buffs my other attacking creatures, so she synergizes with the counter strategy. And her second ability is super relevant in Standard right now because she not only shuts down Hangerback Walkers, which are everywhere, quite frankly. Everybody is playing Hangerback Walkers right now. It's kind of annoying. But she also shuts down another popular deck that's come up recently in Standard, which is the Aristocrats deck. She doesn't shut down these sacrifice abilities, so your opponent can still activate their Nantuko Husks. But it does shut down the Zulaport Cutthroat, and also, what's the other one? Calastria, something, I'm not sure, it's just, there's another creature that she shuts down, but mostly what she's in here for is, obviously, being a 3 mana 4/4 that synergizes well with my deck, but also keep in mind that she shuts down Hangerbacks and Zulaport Cutthroats. Oh, and also, she prevents Liliana from transforming. So that's it for the creature spells. Moving on to the non-creature spells. Of course, we have 3 Hardened Scales. So 1 green enchantment. If 1 or more counters would be put on a creature I control, put that many +1. So every time somebody casts a spell, my Managorger or Hydra goes up by 2 counters. Anafenza puts 2 counters on a creature. Bolster puts 2 counters. It's just great synergy for the deck. And another interesting synergy that I found was if I swing in with Anafenza, I can activate my Manland, my Shambling Vent, and put counters on it. And then I get a fat lifelink land. So it's another fun interaction with her. Next up, we have 2 Valorous Stance, 1 colorless, 1 white. I can give a target creature indestructible until end of turn, or I can destroy a creature with toughness 4 or greater. Just a great utility card. I can use it to protect one of my own creatures, or destroy one of my opponent's fatties. 2 Dromoka's Command, another great utility spell. I can prevent all damage target instant or sorcery spell would deal. I can make my opponent sacrifice an enchantment. I put a counter on a creature, which again synergizes with the Hardened Scales. And I can make one of my creatures fight one of my opponent's creatures. And not only will it be easy to make my creatures fat with the counter synergy, but I have 6 creatures that have Death Touch, which will kill pretty much anything that I make them fight, no matter how big they are. Next up, another great utility card that has some great options. Abzan Charm, 1 white, 1 black, 1 green. I can exile a creature with power 3 or greater, so get rid of my opponent's threats. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, so card advantage, and I can distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures I control. Well, any target creatures, but yeah, usually you want to do it to your own. One interesting synergy that you could do if you really wanted to get rid of a creature, but I don't know. You can make your opponent's creatures fat enough to be destroyed with your Valorous Stance, but yeah, more often than not, you're using the counters on your own creatures. So yeah, Abzan Charm is a 2/of. It's another great card. And then finally, 4 Collected Company. So 3 colorless, 1 green. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, and put the rest on the bottom of your library. So it's a great card, great instant. A lot of people are expecting it these days when you hold up 4 mana, but sometimes you can still surprise your opponent with when they make a bad attack. So that concludes the main board. Moving on to the sideboard. First off, 2 Silk Wrap. Shuts down Hangerback Walker. That's the main reason it's in here. I faced Hangerback in, I think, at least 4 of my matches yesterday. But yeah, it shuts him off, because even if they get rid of the enchantment, it comes back, Hanger back comes back with 0 counters, and it just dies. Also good for early removal on some decks, like if you're playing a Tarka Red deck, or a deck that plays Jace. Just any early drops that you want to get rid of that can be a nuisance. Next up, 2 Duresses, 1 black. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, and that player discards that card. So this will come in against the control matchups. Just some hand disruption. Another card that's really good against control, anyone playing Wrath cards, is Inspiring Call. I think this card is really underrated. You don't really see it played that much, but especially in a deck like mine that has a counter strategy, it's just bonkers good. I was playing against a Mardu control deck, and he played Crux of Fate with a Thunderbreak Region on the field, and he thought he had me. But I played this at instant speed, and he's like, "What? That's ridiculously good," because at the time, not only did it save my creatures, but it allowed me to draw 3 cards, which just refueled my hand and gave me way more gas, and I was able to win a couple turns later. But yeah, Inspiring Call has 2 colorless and 1 green. It's an instant. It says, draw a card for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. So not only protects your team and gives you more gas, so it's a great card. Also against the control, I have Evolutionary Leap, 1 colorless and 1 green. It's an enchantment. For 1 green, you sacrifice a creature and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Then put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So if your opponent targets a creature to have it destroyed or exiled, you can sack it in response to this and refuel your hand. Also, for any control removal decks, I have 2 more Valor Stances just to protect my creatures. Or for added removal against a mid-range deck, if they have lots of threats. Also, a little bit of added removal, 2 Ultimate Prices. And finally, for the aggro matchup, Tarka Red is a really annoying deck. My deck is okay against it. It's not a great matchup, so I have a little bit of help in the sideboard with 4 Arashan Clerics. It's a full play set because, I mean, the life gain and having a 3 toughness creature is really nice. And I mean, accompanying, and if you collect a company into 2 of them, you gain 6 life, get 2 blockers. I mean, it's just a good card for facing up against aggressive decks. So, there you have it. That is my Abzan Company deck. Feel free to comment on anything you liked about it or things that you might do differently. And also feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.